So I'm going to do an example, example 1. Solve 3x less than x squared minus 10. So my solution, first I put the 3x on the right-hand side. That's because I like the leading coefficient of 1 on the x squared. So I just subtracted 3x from both sides, and I got 0 is less than x squared minus 3x minus 10. Then I factored the x squared minus 3x minus 10, and I got 0 less than x minus 5, x plus 2. Now, this is a common mistake. Don't do this. On the inequalities, that doesn't imply that x minus 5 is greater than 0 and x plus 2 is greater than 0. Don't do it that way, okay? Instead, solve the associated equation, which is just the same thing but with equals 0 instead of greater than 0. So x minus 5, the quantity x minus 5 times the quantity x minus x plus 2 equals 0. And that gives us x equals 5 or x equals negative 2. Then draw a number line. Actually draw a number line. Don't be lazy about it. Put open dots at negative 2 and 5. Why are they open? Because it's less than, not less than or equal to. So negative 2 and 5 are not solutions to the inequality. And then we try test points, one in each region determined by each of the three regions determined by the 2 points. And so I just chose negative 3, 0, and 6. And I plug it in this inequality in the factored form because it'll be easiest to see if it's positive or negative. What we want is for the x minus 5 times x plus 2 to be positive. It's greater than 0. So I'm going to try x is minus 3. Notice how I wrote down what I'm testing and even underlined it and put a colon by it to set it off. Okay, I recommend doing that. And then we plug in the numbers, and you can see it's negative times a negative, which will be positive, which is what we wanted. Then I try 0, and usually you don't have to write this part out, the 0 minus 5 times 0 plus 2. You could just look at it and see it's a negative times a positive, and just write down negative times positive, this part, and then less than 0. So I don't normally write in this one step here. You can, of course. If you feel more comfortable writing it in, write it in. But a lot of people just do this in their head because you're just keeping track of whether something's positive or negative. So that whole thing turns out to be negative. A product of a product or product and quotient of an odd number of negatives is negative. And the pluses don't actually have anything to do with the sign of the result. So I'm going to try 6, my third test point. I get 6 minus 5 times 6 plus 2, so that's a positive times a positive, which is positive, right? Because there's 0 negatives, an even number of negatives. And so that's greater than 0. So I need to shade in those two regions. The region determined by the 2 points in my previous graph, the region that contains the negative 3 and the region that contains the 6. I just shade in that whole region, and that's where my solutions will be. So I get these two arrows going off to the left and right. Then I have to write that in interval notation, which you do reading left to right. Always read left to, not from the middle out, left to right. So the left arrow is negative infinity, and then that goes up to negative 2, comma, negative 2, with a parenthesis on the negative 2 because the open dot corresponds to a parenthesis. Union, parenthesis 5, comma, infinity, close paren. And that's it for that example.